Recording. 3, 2. Welcome back, everybody, to Cover 1. I'm your host, James Bouligny. I'm joined by my co-hosts, Ryan Chadwick and Paul Harris. How we doing, guys?
What's going on, James?
It's another week. District play starts.
Absolutely. I'm excited for district. Before we get any further into it, though, let's hear a quick word from Angelo MRI.
Have you ever needed an MRI? Do you know someone that needs an MRI? And did you know that you have a choice? When your doctor orders an MRI, tell them that you choose Angelo MRI. The founders of Angelo MRI started Angelo MRI when they faced the high cost of MRIs from traditional medical facilities. That's why Angelo MRI offers a better way, a high-quality MRI for just $5.95. And Angelo MRI accepts all insurance, saving you time and money. It's your health, your money, and your choice. Angelo MRI, 4114 South Jackson in San Angelo, or look them up at angelomri.com. Remember, when your doctor orders an MRI, tell them that you choose Angelo MRI.
Okay, Paul Harris, you were at the Lakeview Burnett game. What'd you see?
Well, I mean, Lakeview continues to be it's an extremely entertaining game every single time. After the 4-0 start, a little disappointing to have back-to-back losses. I think that dampers some of the enthusiasm, but at the same time, they've been in both of these losses.
They've been competitive.
Yeah, it's a totally different team still. It's not like, oh, okay, it's over now. Lakeview's falling back to earth. They're really not. I mean, the offense continues to put up a ton of points. Burnett beat them by, I think, 43 last year, and they lost by 10. And it was a close game. I mean, they were down by 3 going into the fourth, and it just got away. A couple of bad things, particularly a punt after the Lakeview defense had stopped Burnett, and then it hits a Lakeview kid. Burnett recovers, and that kind of turned the game. But I mean, I still think Chris Alviso gives them a chance every single time. Rios is still an awesome receiver. They've got a great group of receivers. Rios, great running back, great group of receivers.
Well, he's a receiver too, though. He is.
He is pretty dangerous out of the backfield. And I think the big thing is that the defense just is undersized, and they continue to struggle against the run. So they just keep kind of ending up in these shootouts. But this is a different team. I feel like they're going to get back on track against Brownfield this week. And then I think they got a great chance in district play. So don't worry, Chiefs fans. There's still a lot of hope left ahead, I think.
To your point, Paul, I was talking to Coach Guevara this week, and he was talking to me about how that bye week coming up is sorely needed because they have some pieces missing on that defense. And so he said they played a lot of youth against Burnett. And so, I think it shows, when you're seeing the defense struggle, you just gotta be thankful that these are still non-district games, So, if anything, it's just giving those younger guys a chance to get some experience, So maybe they can get better going forward if some of these starters don't come back or if they get hurt again, when district play actually starts. So I think Lakeview's going to be all right. They have been my biggest surprise this year, and they're a lot of fun to watch.
That's one thing that we kind of hate 14 districts, right? We hate, because you could just be 0-10 and make the playoffs. But that is one thing that's kind of helpful is you have those more pre-district games to get you ready for district. So maybe if you do have pieces that are beat up, they can get back.
Well, and I do think that this is a district that Lakeview can actually win this year too, because Andrews isn't the same team that they usually are every year, and the same goes with Big Spring. I know that they're playing teams pretty tough, but this is not out of the realm of possibility that the Chiefs could claim an outright district championship this year.
I was looking at their averages. The last 2 games, they've given up 86 points over these last 2 games, but they're still only allowing 32 points a game or 33 points a game, and they're still scoring 40-some-odd points a game.
That's a winning formula.
That's still in your favor. And like you said, Alviso gives him a chance to win. He had 5 touchdowns against Burnett. He's playing really well. They're gonna be all right.
Yeah, James, who would have known if your offense scores more points than your defense allows, you win football games.
Right? Speaking of, or our next game, you could just 45 every opponent and call it a day. I went to Water Valley last week. They played Rankin as a top 10 matchup. Water Valley's number 2, Rankin's number 10. And Water Valley really showed why they are number 2. First play of the game, Branson Lacey took it 65 yards for a touchdown. Next drive, first Rankin drive, quarterback throws an interception to Landon Lacey, and they just kind of piled on from there. The only thing that I would say Water Valley really needs to do is they had some penalties, some big penalties. Some I thought were kind of questionable, but I'm not an official. So they just need to clean some of that up because we all know who's standing in the way. Gordon is, of course, the big bad in 1A football all the way around. They 45 Richland Spring is the first game. Played an 11-man school, beat them pretty good. So Water Valley really needs to get prepared for them. But they do have someone else in the way, Robert Lee coming up. Robert Lee is always very talented. But back to the Rankin game, they had no problem taking them apart, dismantling Rankin. It was fun to watch. And another thing I personally cannot stand is homecomings anymore. I know we talked about it last week. A 45-minute halftime there in Water Valley. And I get it, small school, you're trying to involve everybody, you're trying to honor past classes and all that. But I'm like, man, you're going to throw these kids off. You know, Water Valley came out and had a very uncharacteristic a fumble. He just kind of lost it and turned it over to Rankin with pretty good field position. Luckily, they held them and then went and scored. Still, need to rein in these half times just a little bit. You know, give it like 30 minutes, if anything. They're already 28. You're getting both bands on the field and everything. But I digress.
When you're 45 and everybody, you got to try to extend the game, especially you got everybody in town for homecoming. So
I wondered if Water Valley fans even remembered there is a second half. Like there's 1 and 2 halftime and then quarters 3 and 4. There is a second half to games. So hopefully they don't run into that again. It'll be interesting once they get in the playoffs.
Yeah, they'll see a fourth quarter game here in a couple weeks with Robert Lee.
Oh, I believe so. I believe so.
What if they 45 them too?
They will not 45 Robert Lee. Renner Sherwood will not allow that.
Well, it'll be a good one nonetheless. We're going to get into some games of the week. Before we get into games of the week, I went to Coahoma for the Grape Creek Coahoma game. We're going to get some highlights, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about some of the games that we're going to be at. All right, some Grape Creek highlights here. The kickoff district against Coahoma. That's Darrell West breaking through the offensive line, through the defense, actually, in for a touchdown. Eagles lead early 7-0. Kind of a late hit there, but whatever. Here you go, first Bulldogs drive. They're going to throw it downfield. That's Austin Jocelyn to Jaden Henderson for the 72-yard catch and run for the score. Coahoma ties it up at 7 with about 10 minutes to go. Next Grape Creek drive, 8:43 left, and there goes Darrell West again, getting through defenders, up the sideline, cuts back across, gets into the end zone here. Second touchdown for Darrell West, 13-7, Grape Creek leads. Go into the second quarter now. Eagles are going to punt here. That's Brayley Woods with the punt, punting it to Austin Molina, catches it, gets upfield. This is kind of the first disaster for Grape Creek. But Molina gets in for the touchdown, takes the punt return back. Coahoma ties the game up at 13-13. Here are just under 6 minutes to go, and the Eagles here get another one. That's Ashton Ortiz with the 22-yard touchdown, getting around the defenders, zigzagging in and out. Grape Creek leads yet again, 20-13. Getting close to halftime here, and this is Lawson Tears. Gets in for the sack. Big sack there by the big man up front. But this is the same drive. Jocelyn's going to look back. He's going to launch downfield for Molina. 54-yard touchdown pass. Coahoma ties it up at 20 with 2:22 left in the half. Second disaster here. Here's Brayley Woods scrambling around trying to find somebody. Underthrows his receiver, and that's Lanson Moore with the pick. And he takes it to the house. Here you go. This is a nearly 6-minute drive being capped off here. But not how you think. They fumble it. Connor Lineberger recovers the ball. Wouldn't be able to do much there, though. Next Coahoma drive, he's going to find Jaden Henderson again for the 6-yard touchdown. Bulldogs pull ahead 33-20. Here you go. This is the Grape Creek drive in the fourth quarter. That's Darrell West. But the kind of crazy, kind of fumbles it there, catches it, gets in for the touchdown. Eagles cut into the lead 33-27. Next Coahoma drive. There's Darrell West again, meeting Aiden Rodriguez with a bunch of other Eagle defenders. He strips the ball, and Eagles take over. Eagles have some life here, but Coahoma ball, they have a chance to really put it out of reach here. But Coahoma would not. They would miss this. They would miss this field goal, and it'd be 33-27. Eagles would have a chance at the end to try and score, but it would end up in a turnover on downs, and Coahoma ends up taking this one. First district game. Congratulations to the Coahoma Bulldogs. All right, let's talk about some games of the week coming up. Chadwick Central is back at it, and they are playing big, bad Midland Lee. What do you know?
Well, I do know it's the start of district play. District 2-6A is always the most competitive football that Central's going to see all season. None of these teams like each other, and they always play like it. This is a matchup where you can't look at the records to see to really predict who's going to win this matchup, because Midland Lee's coming into this game at 1-4 on the season so far. Don't let that fool you. They've played kind of a murderer's row, as we like to coin it on this show. They started the season, playing Allen, then they played Euless Trinity, and then they played Lake Travis, and then they beat up on Abilene High, which is crazy to think about, and then they went last week or 2 weeks ago, something like that, and played the number 3 team in Louisiana. So yes, these are losses. They didn't actually win these games, but man, when you play at that level of competition, no matter what, it's just gonna feel like a step down when you're not playing some of the powerhouses in 6A every single week, And I'm not calling the Bobcats slouches at all, but I say that to say Central needs to be ready. They need to play a clean, perfect game, and they can't turn the ball over, and they need to run the ball really well if they want a chance to win this one. We were talking to Coach Smith earlier this week, and that's pretty much what he said. He goes, if we take care of the football and we win the line of scrimmage, we're going to have some really happy Bobcats at the end of Friday night. Now, this is a game that Central honestly should have won last year. This was that really controversial, horribly refereed game that got a lot of attention last year from all across the state. Central ended up losing that one, in Midland. We'll see if it's that kind of atmosphere again, where it's just going to be back and forth, slugfest. But Micah Smith has been playing better. He hasn't thrown an interception that was completely his fault in over 4 weeks now. The one he threw against Belton was a tip pass, so you can't really blame that one on him. But the running game looks great. You have 3 outstanding running backs from the Bobcats right now, and Zay Johnson, Elijah Allen, and Darius Hewitt. They've combined for about 800 yards on the ground, with Zay Johnson leading the way with over 300 yards and 7 touchdowns. He has kind of cemented himself as the big bruiser back at the goal line. I still think Central might win that game against Amarillo High if Zay Johnson isn't hurt when they're inside the 10 there, because there was twice that Central got inside the 10 that they couldn't score. But it's going to be tough defensively. Midland Lee's can sling the ball over the field if they want to, and they got a talented running back. Like I said, I know I'm kind of going on a rant here, but this is a big game. Midland Lee has kind of ran this district the last 10 years. I know Friendship won it last year, but this is as big as it gets, and there's going to be a big crowd, and it's the start of district, and to be honest, I'm excited for it.
All right. And Paul, what about Lakeview and Brown? We kind of already talked about Lakeview. We think they can get starting in the win column again. What does Brownfield do?
Well, I think it's kind of the perfect game for them in a way, coming off the back-to-back losses. Brownfield's 0-6. Lakeview won handily against them last year. I think they're a huge favorite again, and so it'd be nice if they just take care of business, play well, get back on track, and maybe have a 5-2 record going into their bye week, and then heading into district play with some confidence and a little momentum again. So I think going up to Brownfield is kind of what they need right now.
I mean, the only thing that I would give Brownfield an edge is that they got, 3-hour trip? Lakeview does? It's up there around Lubbock, correct?
Yeah, it is. Lakeview's used to traveling, though. Way out here, they're kind of on an island, so I don't think that'll bother the Chiefs too much. I think it'll be good. They just had 3 straight home games. I think it'll be good.
All right. And then let's talk about a big game, Merkel and Wall. This is 6-0 versus 5-1. Wall kind of started slow the past 2 weeks, and Merkel is playing pretty good football.
Yeah, Merkel was really a surprise. I mean, I think we all just thought, Wall's just going to steamroll this district. Don't have to worry about it, and maybe they will. But Merkel, after going winless last year, 5-1 now. I mean, they've really impressed. They got a sophomore quarterback. It's really kind of changed things for them. So I think they may present more of a challenge than we expected, and same for the rest of the district with Coahoma and Grape Creek. They're also coming in with winning records. I don't think it's going to be just an absolute cakewalk for Wall. I think they may get challenged a bit. I mean, I think Wall's obviously head and shoulders the best team in that district. But Merkel's a tad dangerous, so we'll see what happens. I think their only loss was to Hawley so far. They've been pretty good, and they've scored a ton of points.
And that's kind of where I'm at too. Any competition for Wall through this run through district is welcome in my opinion.
For sure.
Like even if God forbid they lose one of these games, like they need to be pushed. They need to be pushed into a fourth quarter to where they're actually having to play some really competitive football in crunch time. Because as soon as those playoffs starts, if they don't have that accumulated experience throughout the year, if they're used to just coasting, I think that can come back to bite them. So, before district started for Wall, I was just kind of looking at the guys on paper, just looking at last year's records and stuff, and I was like, who's even going to challenge them? So Coahoma's playing well. Merkel's playing well. Grape Creek's playing well. I think that just bodes well to sharpen the Hawks for the playoffs. So I'm excited for this one this weekend too. I want to see what Merkel's got, but I also do want to see Wall return to form a little bit. They played a little bit slow against Sweetwater, and then Sweetwater exposed something that Idalou took advantage of, and Idalou scored 21 points off of turnovers, right? Wall has got to take better care of the ball. I don't care how good your defense is, if you constantly put them in situations where they have to defend in bad situations, they're going to score, So I want to see Wall play cleaner, and I want to see Merkel challenge them to their utmost.
I was going to say, quarterbacks kind of mirror each other. Malone there and Merkel has 1,200 yards, 20 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Landon York's got 1,500 yards, 19 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. If anything, Merkel runs the ball a little bit more. I think they almost have 1,000 yards on the ground combined as a team. That's one thing we haven't really seen from the Hawks, is them have a running back really take the lead. And then they have 4 really good receivers there in Merkel. And defensively, I think they've got 11 sacks and 3 interceptions. So that offensive line's got to play well for Wall. But Slaughter's an experienced coach. They're going to get things back on track.
I think so. I think Idalou was a wake-up call for them last week. That was the first time they really got tested, just leading by 7 going into the 4th. Mm-hmm. So I really think that they're going to respond this week against Merkel to start district.
Drop 70 on them?
I don't know about that, but...
that offensive line kind of got a look from Sweetwater because they had 5 sacks. They really sent the house after York. So maybe they have gotten that wake-up call already, and they're like, all right, maybe we need to start picking it up. Because if you start slow in the playoffs, you're not going to make it very far. Mm-mm. So this will be a very, very good one. I'm excited for this one. And then we have Eldorado and Iraan. What do we think here? Iraan's playing pretty good football right now. What do you think, Paul?
Yeah, Iraan and Wink were the top 2 teams in this district last year, and I think it's probably the same. Iraan, they're coming off that 55-point win over Reagan County. They've been a dangerous team. They've gone to state 7-on-7 the last 2 years. They've got a good quarterback. So, Eldorado's got their hands full here. They were 3rd in the district last year, and they may be battling for that again. But, we'll see how they do and see if they can try to get off to a good start. That's a tough test for them.
I kind of wrote some stuff down. I've said Iraan is riding a 3-game winning streak, beating Crane, winners in Reagan County. Their only loss this year is to Odessa Compass Academy, and that was a 3-point loss. Their quarterback, Prather?
I'm not sure. Never heard it pronounced.
Schneeman. This kid's been making waves since he was a freshman out there. I remember seeing him. For a while there, Iraan wasn't as good as they've normally been, but he's always been kind of there putting up numbers. He's got a talented enough arm where teams have to stay backed off. He's fairly accurate, completing 55 of 87 passes for 931 yards, 7 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. That could, I'm sure coaches aren't super happy with that, but it could be a little bit better. The Braves have a very good rushing attack. They have 1,200 yards on the ground and 19 touchdowns. And senior receiver Christian Butron has almost 500 yards and 5 touchdowns. They have no problem sacking the quarterback. They have 16 as a team, and they force opponents to turn the ball over with 10 combined picks and fumble recoveries. So Johnny Ray Adama is going to have to play well, have to play accurate. We're going to actually get to see some. This is going to be a good one. I'm excited for this one too. And this is a pretty good slate to start off with as far as district play goes for the Concho Valley. And we are going to move on to Player of the Week. Before we do, we're going to hear a quick word from Kicking Cuts. Looking for a fresh cut without breaking the bank? Well, Kicking Cuts is now open at 4238 Sherwood Way. Haircuts start at $19 for kids and $22 for adults. They offer hot towels, beard detailings, multiple discounts, and they also sell hard-to-find hair care products. Kicking Cuts is locally owned, and they're ready to get you looking sharp at an affordable price. Kicking Cuts, located at 4238 Sherwood Way in San Angelo. All right, into our Player of the Week. We're going to kind of give it to co-players of the week. The Lacey brothers from Water Valley. Last week they lit it up against Rankin. Branson had big run, had a fumble recovery. Lacey had a couple touchdowns, interception. Just played incredibly well, out of their minds. This is what we've seen from the Lacey brothers so far. I mean, on our COVER1 team last year, they were Landon was offensive MVP. I mean, it pretty much speaks for itself, man. What do you have to say about the Laceys?
I had only seen Branson in basketball, but he's been a big addition to the football team this year with them losing Anthony Quintana. He was kind of just plugged right in there, and is obviously a talented family. So I'm not, I've seen Landon, so I'm not surprised that Branson's been a good athlete for them as well. But yeah, man. I mean, they took care of business. They put on a show against Rankin, so well deserved for them to share the award.
Yeah, and like I said, that's so crazy to have two top 5 teams in the same district. When you look at just all 6-man across the board, what was it, 6-man Division 1? It's pretty crazy. I mean, you have Gordon, but then you have Water Valley, and then Robert Lee's number 5. And then if you're just talking about West Texas in general, Rankin was number 10. That's a pretty good talented group of 6-man teams in the Concho Valley. But we're going to move on to college football. Before we do, we're going to hear a quick word from Shelburne Financial. At Shelburne Financial, you are more than just a number. They will help you plan for retirement, prepare tax documents, and more. Whether you're looking to grow your savings or plan for your future, the experienced team at Shelburne Financial is here to help you and guide you every step of the way. Give them a call at 944-9447 or head over to 3177 Executive Drive and invest in your future. All right, Chadwick, you are the college dude. What do we know?
The college dude.
Let's not mention UT this week. We don't need to do that.
Are you sure?
It's not really necessary.
But you know who I'm going to anyway.
All right,
bring the curse down.
All right, let's get into my college football rant this week. So the Angelo State Rams are traveling to Kingsville to play the Texas A&M Kingsville football team. After last week, the Rams need to kind of get their act together, as it were. A couple of bad penalties, untimely penalties, and just a slow start on the offensive side of the ball caused the Rams to fall to at the time number 9 UTPB last week. The conference championship is out of the control of their hands at this point, unless Central Washington beats UTPB, and then the Rams are back in at that point. But Texas A&M Kingsville, not that great this year. They already have three losses on the season. It's kind of exactly the same situation for Lakeview. Really good chance for the Rams to go on a road and get a solid win. Coach Gersh is confident in his team, and he knows that they can do that. I'd like to see a return to form from Brandon Fuller, their starting quarterback who got injured, missed 3 weeks, came back a little rusty, and you could tell. So let's see him get back to form this week. Moving on to Division I football, we got the Red River Shootout this weekend. I know Paul don't want to talk about it after Arch Manning and that atrocious performance by the Texas offensive line caused Texas to fall to Florida in the swamp last week.
You have to say it like that, Chad. He's
Dude,
right
it was
there.
Bad.
I mean,
it was. I'm not. This isn't shade at Texas. It was like I felt bad for Arch Manning. I know he didn't play great, but like he snapped the ball, ran for his life. So Texas O-line needs to play much better considering that the amount of money they've invested into it. They completely fell out of the rankings after that. They were preseason number 1 in the nation, not even the top 25 anymore after that performance last week. But if they beat Oklahoma in the Red River Shootout, it completely turns their season around. They're still in contention for the SEC championship. The playoffs not completely out of the picture, but they got a lot of work to do. And Arch Manning, be a Manning. Like, you are not playing very good football right now, and you need to live up to that expectation if you want to keep your starting job. Moving on, we got number 5, Texas A&M, currently the best team in Texas, traveling to the Swamp to play Florida, trying to avoid that same trap game that the Longhorns fell into last week. The difference is Texas A&M is having some outstanding quarterback play right now in conjunction with a great running game. I think Florida plays tough at home, and that defense is getting better after they stumbled a bit at the beginning of the year. However, this could be a scary game for the Aggies, and I don't want them to get too big ahead because Florida just proved why the Swamp's a tough place to play. And finally, entering the top 10 this week is the Texas Tech Red Raiders. They are number 9 in the nation this week after completely dismantling another undefeated Big 12 team. Went to Houston last week. I was at the game. It was pretty awesome to watch. They completely dominated Houston from start to finish. Defense had 3 takeaways again. Would have been 4 if not for a pass interference call. We almost had another big man touchdown where he just kind of grabbed the ball and ripped it from the quarterback and returned it for a touchdown. That would have been cool, but it got called back for pass interference. Offense was humming along. Baron Morton had more than 340 passing yards. The Red Raiders had more than 200 rushing yards on the ground. Again, very balanced offense, 135-11. This week, they host Kansas for homecoming. Debuted a new logo. There's going to be a lot of hype surrounding this game. Daniels, Kansas quarterback, is proved to be a dual threat nightmare for some defenses, but it depends on what version of him shows up, So it's either going to be a great game where he plays absolutely amazing and really tests the Texas Tech defense, or it's going to be another Red Raider romp. If Baron Morton can stay healthy, stay clean, not turn the ball over, and Texas Tech just continues to be dominant on their defensive front, I think this is another win for Texas Tech as they chase their, against all the haters out there who don't give any respect to the Big 12, their spot in the college football playoff. That's it. That's my rant. That's my college football rant, James, just for you.
All right. A lot of information there, Chadwick. We're here, a quick word from the ArcLight, and we'll be right back. Catch all the collegiate and pro football action at the ArcLight Bar and Grill, located at 441 Rio Concho Drive, inside the Clarion Hotel in downtown San Angelo. All right, end of the show here. Final thoughts. Mine, what's Christian Villarreal going to do this week? Had a pretty good feature on him written in Dave Campbell's. They kind of said that the Sugarland Express record is within sight. What do you think?
He just can't get hurt at this point, He's just got to keep running the ball. He's got to keep doing his thing. What did you say, Paul? Week 2 of the playoffs is when he could potentially break that record?
If he stays on pace, yeah. And 364 yards a game is a tough pace to keep up, But he's been incredible so far, and we could be watching history. It's pretty awesome, that record it's a hallowed record. It stood for 70 years. I didn't think it would ever be threatened. So to have a Derrick Henry kind of guy in Arizona right now, it's just crazy. It's a cool story, and I just hope he keeps it up.
He needs to be being looked at by more colleges.
Yeah, he really does.
What is going on here?
When I went down there and spoke with Coach Pitts for when they presented the Built for Tough 2A Player of the Week to him, I said what's going on with that, and he said he's working on getting film out to guys.
Okay.
And because there's no reason ASU shouldn't be looking and Sol Ross shouldn't be looking. If he can break a 72-year record, there's no reason.
Well, and it's not a size thing. He's
right.
he's a big running back, and he's fast. So
like trying to catch smoke with your bare hands.
Yeah. Coach Joey McGuire.
No, he's a good kid too. He took over his dad's, his dad passed away when he was 14. He took over his dad's tree trimming service, and it's just him and his mom now. And I think that may be kind of factoring in. Maybe he wants to stay close, but Angelo's what, an hour and 15 minutes away from Ozona. It's not a bad trip at all, unless you're hitting all the road work. But that's my little gripe.
Right. Hopefully so. Hopefully he can stay close when we keep watching him.
No, and I think this record's absolutely within grasp. You look at that district. A lot of those teams are kind of rebuilding. You know, Reagan County graduated a lot last year. Cristobal, a new head coach. Sonora is one of those teams that kind of in the way for him. You know, that could be a really really good game. And we know that Colorado City has struggled recently, but this district could line it up perfectly for him to go get this award, because it seems like, I mean, you told me the other day, like, you look forward to that email. I look forward to your text when you get them stats from Coach Pitts. That it's one of those things that you sent to me right away, and when he had 450 yards, I mean, goodness gracious.
Back-to-back weeks.
Just a freak down there in Ozona.
Yeah, checking my email all day Saturday, waiting to see what Villarreal did. So maybe the same thing this Saturday. I can't wait to see what he does to start off district.
And I think he's going to get the recognition he deserves, like, as we get closer to the playoffs. I mean, he does this as teams like Stanford or Hawley or like any of those more like established teams, and then hey, you win a couple of those games, and now all of a sudden you're playing teams from DFW. People are going to know who Christian Villarreal is.
And just give a nod to the offensive line too, because he's got all 5 starters returning. That's just kind of a perfect storm to have a line like that.
Oh no, it lined up pretty perfect for Christian this year. You know, he's healthy, new head coach who knows that he's blessed to have that weapon in your arsenal that you're not forced to hand it to him, because they do pass the ball pretty efficiently. You know, they do play a pretty rounded game there in Ozona. I'm excited for it. Final thoughts for y'all? Is that it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with the Christian Villarreal segment. I mean, go Bobcats, go beat Midland Lee.
Paul?
I'll just go ahead and give a final thought for Ballinger. You know, I'm gonna cover them this week. District opener versus Bangs. Both teams are 3-2, and it could be the return of quarterback Kyson Burleson. Yeah, he tore his ACL in the spring during track, and kind of the target all along has been him returning for district play. And when they lost, you know, their other quarterback to start the year, that hurt them obviously, and so he could be a big boost to them. So hopefully we see him out there. Hopefully, hopefully Ballinger can kind of get their offense going, because they've got a great defense. You know, they've in all 3 of their wins, the defense has really shined, held their opponents to 17 or less. So if Kyson can come in and give them a boost, maybe they can, you know, make another run at the playoffs.
All right. Also, we need nicknames for Christian Villarreal when he breaks the Sugar Land Express record. So
yeah, any suggestions?
Yeah, help us come up with an awesome one. But this has been the COVER1 pregame show for week 6. Week 6, right?
Week 7 now.
Week 7 now.
7.
See, we're already into it so much I can't even keep it straight. But for Ryan, Chadwick, and Paul Harris, I'm James Bouligny. I'll see you in the postgame show.